Hello everyone, this is Jennifer Biedermann from Biedermann Jewelry, and as you can see, we're going to do a really fun project today. I started this today. It took me all of, I think, 25 minutes to 30 minutes to complete, and I had an idea in my head. I wanted to do these links here, double links, and lots of beads, and it looks like there is a lot going on here. However, it's a fast moving project and it's actually really easy. So what we're going to do is see this clasp here, we're going to be making our own clasp, we'll be making our own jump rings, and every link we'll be making handmade. Okay, so here's a list of materials you're going to need for this project. This is a, I think it's an 8-inch bracelet. And let me just quickly double check. Yeah, 8 inches from including the clasp. And I also aged this, as you can see, because I'm using pure copper. This is like 99.9% pure copper. It's dead soft. It's very bright. I don't like bright copper, so what I do is I age it. And I'm going to show you how to do that with the patina, and I'm going to tell you all the materials you're going to need to do this project. So I'll be back in a second to bring. Now, before we start with the materials, I just want to show you something here. This is the copper. This is a pendant I made, and it's the pure copper. It's not. I didn't age it, and the reason why I didn't age it is because I didn't like it. So I kind of winged it here, and I don't like this pendant, so I'm not going to even bother patining it. Here, as you can see, look at the difference here. Look at the difference, how warm copper is when you age it. So I did this one, and I did this one with a semi-precious stone. I wrapped this up here. So I just wanted to show you the difference of what it looks like. Again, I'm not feeling this like bright copper. I really love the warm look of the copper, and again, I'm going to show you how to do this in this tutorial. Okay, so now let's move on to the okay, so this is what you're going to need. You're going to need some wire, okay? And what I'm using in this project is the copper wire. If you're using tarnish resistant copper wire, you will not be able to age it because it's tarnish resistant. So these copper wires I bought from Rio Grande. I bought a lot of copper wire. This is the best wire I found for the price. Actually, one spool like this cost me like $15. So I'm using an 18 gauge, dead soft. I'm using a 20 gauge, dead soft, and I'm using a 28 gauge for my weaving wire, dead soft. Now, if you only have 18 and you don't have 20 gauge, that's okay. The reason why I'm using the 20 gauge is because my beads won't fit onto my 18. So, but however, in this bracelet here, I use 18 throughout, because my 6/0 seed beads were able to fit onto my 18 gauge, but the fire polish beads I'm using here won't fit on that. So you will need, if you want to do exactly the way I'm doing today, you'll need an 18 gauge, a 20 gauge, and an 28 gauge. So what you want to do for an 8-inch bracelet, including the clasp, you will need to cut yourself lengths of wire, and I've got 6 lengths of wire here in 18 gauge. They are all 4 inches long, and also in 3 in 20 gauge, and they're also about 3.5 inches long, because these are the ones that my beads are going to go on to. And for the beads, I'm using fire polish beads. I'm using 2 colors. This one is like a blue AB. Hopefully you can see this. Let me just, if I can move in. I'm using a 4mm fire polish, and I'm using also a different color fire polish. It's a 4mm. Also, lots of tools. You're going to need lots of tools for this. Okay, so the tools you're going to need. You will need a cutter, a flush cutter. You will need round or bent chain nose pliers. You will need regular chain nose pliers. You will need round nose pliers. This I always have on hand. It's just to straighten out my wire. It's a nylon pliers, and what I do is I just straighten out my wire like this if there's any kinks in it, and it protects the wire. I'm also using this. It's like a bail maker, bail pliers. I'm not sure what they call it, but I'm going to be using this to make my jump rings and also to make my clasp. If you don't have one of these, not to worry. Get yourself a pencil or something, the diameter that you want your jump rings. You will also need, this is optional, but I do use this. I'm using a hammer. I'm using a hammer block. And to minimize the noise, I'm using this sandbag for my hammer block here when I hammer. So this is optional, but I use it because I want my jump rings to be strong and I want my clasp to be strong. So I'll show you how to do that. Also, to age your piece, you're going to need some sulfur. Now, there's a lot of different patina solutions out there. This, you know what? I got this at the craft store. It cost me 12 bucks. It's a patina solution and it works just as well as that bottle or of the same size that costs $40. So I just go to the craft store and I get this. You're also going to need some steel wool. And this steel wool, you need it to polish your piece at the end. You can get this at any hardware store. This is a metal polish steel wool, and it's very fine. So if you're going to the hardware store, just look for a very fine steel wool, and it looks like this. When you bring it out, it's just like a piece of a very, very fine to polish the patina off when you're done. Okay, so get your materials together, and for the 18 gauge, like I said, just cut yourself pieces off so you get ready. And we're going to work like in an assembly line so that every link is exactly the same length. Okay, so get your stuff together and we'll be right back. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to start with these beads or these links right here. Okay, and that is your 6 18 gauge pieces that you previously cut. So we're going to work, like I said, like an assembly line, because we want all these links to be exactly the same. Now, I hope you can see this. You're going to, you have a 4-inch piece here. You're going to go down about 1.25 inches approximately. And take your chain nose pliers, grab your piece, and bend. Just like that. Very easy. And we're going to do that to all the pieces, because we want them to be bent exactly the same. Bend, and I know about approximately, so I don't need to grab my wires. I'm going to bend that, bend, and bend. So this is what you have. Now, you're going to grab your round nose pliers. You're going to take your piece. You're going to make sure that you always go at the same spot. If you need to get a marker and mark the spot that you chose, put a marker on it. But as you can see, mine are a little bit damaged here, and I'm right about there. So here, my camera's not self-focused, so I have to focus it. So I'm going about here. Now, you have your bend here. You want to go on this piece right here. So you're going to grab it, at the spot that you want, you're going to take the piece and you're going to wrap it around like this. Okay? You're going to do that to all your pieces. So grab your pieces. Like I said, assembly line, just do it. Get every piece ready before you start. You'll thank me later. Because I've done this and I've done one piece and then another piece and they didn't come out exactly the same. And then my piece of jewelry was garbage. And I had to start over. So grab your piece, do your little circles. So you have 6 pieces of your 18 gauge. Okay, so now I've done all mine. Now I'm going to start with a piece that I have here. I'm going to grab my bent chain nose pliers. And if you don't have bent chain nose, don't worry about it. Just use another plier. Grab a hold. And you know what works best for me? I'm actually using my round nose pliers. Now, if you want this to sit properly, see this piece here? Pull it up and come around like that. And do that twice, 2 times. I'm not cutting this wire yet because I want this wire to sit on top of the weave that I'm putting. So now I'm going to grab my 28 gauge wire. 28 gauge. I'm not cutting this piece. Now, here is a fast way to coil this. So a lot of people start here and it's very time consuming. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to start right here. I'm placing my wire on top of my 18 gauge, my weaving wire on top of my 18, and I'm just going to coil like this. I'm not going to worry about it. I'm just going to coil around fast. Doesn't have to be exact, just as long as they're not overlapping each other. Now that I'm like this, I'm just going to squeeze it down. See? I'm going to continue like this until I have the amount that I want. Now, before I continue, the amount that I want is, I have to go a little bit more. Now, I'm just going to tell you the length that you need. I think it's about, it's a 1/2 inch exactly. So I'm doing this little coil for a 1/2 inch. So I'm just going to do a couple of coils, pinch it down. I'm going to just set it to see where I am. Oh, need to go a little bit more. And now I'm a 1/2 inch. Now that I'm here, what I want to do is cut this little tail that I have here. So I'll go ahead and cut that very close to my wire. I'm going to take a pair of pliers and I'm going to squish that in, and I probably have to go around a bit to just make sure that it's sitting properly. You know what? And it's not. So I'm just going to take my pliers again and I'm just going to cut that excess. Just sitting right there. But you know what? I can't get it. So what I'm going to do, because I didn't cut this end, I'm just going to push that down. And this wire here is going to go on top of that wire. So I'm going to grab my bent chain nose pliers, push my weave all the way down. I hope you can see this. I will grab my other pliers and I'm just going to go around one more time like this. Now once I've done that, make sure that's cut, and I'm going to get my cutters and I'm going to go very close and cut the excess. Now see that little piece sticking up? I want to take my pliers and squish that in because you don't want that getting caught on anything. You know, run your finger across it, make sure that it doesn't grab it, you know, because it could grab some clothes of the person wearing it. Now, see this excess wire that I have here? I'm done coiling, but I'm not going to cut this off yet. I'm going to take my chain nose pliers. I'm going to go right down to the weave because I don't need a lot of room, okay? Right down to there and right to the tip. And I'm just going to bend it. So there's not a lot of room there because I just need to coil around a couple of times. And I'm going to take my round nose, go to the spot so that it's equal to the other side. Take my wire, pull it around. I have this. I'm going to take my bent chain nose pliers. And before I do, I'm just going to take my weaving wire and see if I can coil around a couple of times. You know what? I can. So I'm just going to coil a few times around here just to get that space out of the way. And now I'm going to cut this off as close as I can get it. And now I'm going to weave around that coiled piece. So now I'm going to grab my bent chain nose pliers so I can hang on to it. Grab another pliers and bring it up around. And do that the same amount of time that you did on the other side. Which is about like that. Now I have this piece. I'm going to grab my cutters. I will cut close. Take my pliers and push that piece in. Now I see that I have a piece of wire, that weaving wire sticking out. I have to make sure that that is taken care of. And I need to cut that right off. And now I don't feel it. So this is your little link. These are the links right here. Now be sure to measure. The most important part is to measure where you're coiling. It's a 1/2 inch. Take your piece that you just made and measure it. You will do 6 pieces like this. So do your 6 pieces and then we'll come back and I'll show you what to do next. Okay, so now that I've done my 6 pieces, my 6 links, I'm going to put those aside. Now we're going to do, because we're doing an 8-inch bracelet, I've taken my 20 gauge wire and I've already done my 3 loops just like you've done on these. And all I'm doing is I'm taking a piece. I've already done my loop. I'm going to pick up my alternating beads because these are the colors that I chose. Again, if you don't have the 20 gauge, just take an 18 gauge and get a bigger bead. Okay, bring them right down the end. You will take your pliers and right to the end, so there's not much room, just like this. You're going to bend your wire and you will coil just like the others. Coil around. Grab your chain nose. Grab another pair of pliers to grab onto. And coil around so the space is taken up. But you want it like the other side. And you will grab your cutters, snip, pliers, push it. Really make sure it's pushed in because it's no fun to have things snagging onto clothes or whatever. Now, if I want to point something out here, if your loops are, sorry about that, if your loops are offset, you just grab your pliers and you just twist to make sure that they are the same. So open loop here, open loop here. So continue, I'm doing 2 more and I'll be back and show you how to put it together. All right, now that you've made all your links, which I'm sure everyone is an expert now of making links. So once you've done all your links, the next step is we're gonna make some jump rings. If you don't wanna make your own jump ring, that's fine. But I will show you how I do it. I like to make everything in my piece to be handmade, not store-bought. So let me put these aside and I'll show you how to do that. You will take your wire. I'm leaving it on the spool. I'm taking my little jump ring maker here. See, I have 3 different sizes here. I've done a test with all of them. This one is the one I'm going to be using. And I'm just going to take my wire and I will start turning. Start turning. The first little bit doesn't need to be perfect because I'll be snipping that off. But just keep turning. I'm going to need 7 of these, 7 jump rings. So you just keep turning. Again, if you don't have one of these and you're using a pencil or something, just make sure it's something that's uniform, that doesn't taper, that's not big at one end and small at the other. And basically this is your piece. And what I'm going to do is take my cutters. I will cut my wire off. And you see this little piece here? I will just cut that piece off. And you just want to cut the next, this piece here is sticking out, you want to cut to the next wire right next to that piece. There you have it, you have your jump ring. Now you're going to see this little space here, but we're going to fix that after, but it's looks like that. And then continue on until you have 7 jump rings. Now I already made my jump rings, I just want to show you how to make them. And like I said, we're going to use our hammer because it'll make the jump rings stronger. Now just give me 2 seconds, I'm going to turn off the light so you don't have that nice little glare in your face. Light off. Okay, you will take your jump ring, pop it on your block, you will grab your hammer, and you're just going to lightly hammer. Just lightly hammer, just to make it strong. Now, see this space that it created? Because when you hammer, it spreads everything out. Now you have a little space, so when you put your links on, that could fall off. So what I do is I'm going to take my pliers like this. I'm going to take my other pliers and I'm just going to Sorry, I'm working in a very tight space here, so bear, you know what, I'll just grab it like this. Now I'm going to grab this piece and I'm just going to rock it back and forth until I get it as close as possible. See? So that got it close. So you just go, take your pliers and go, whoo, 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 and sort of pushing it towards each other to get it close together. So we will need 7 rings for that 7-inch bracelet. So get your 7 rings and I'll show you how to put it together, and then we'll do the S. Okay, next what we're doing is we're going to make our clasp, which is this piece right here. It's a little S clasp. Well, it's not S, it's a half an S. All right, we are going to cut ourselves a length of wire. Cut yourself about 3 inches, I would say. 3.5 inches. So I'm just going to wing it here and just cut a length. Again, 18 gauge wire. I will take my round nose pliers, and just on the end here, I'm just going to make a small little loop. Go right to the end, just a decorative little loop. And you're going to turn like that. Make yourself a loop. You will take your bail maker, your jump ring maker, I don't know what they call it, but it makes little loops or little round thingies. And I am going to choose my second one. Now see where that little thing is turning there? I'm just going to put it towards that way, bring it all the way up. Like this. And I will just turn this around like that. Take it off and you have your little loop. Now I'm just going to push that in a bit. There you have it. Now over on this end I will take a pair of pliers and I'm going to bend it right about there like this. Actually keep them, and then I'm going to make myself a loop just like we did with the links. Do your little loop around. Grab a pair of pliers. Grab another pair of pliers, whatever you're comfortable with. Actually, that was a really long piece. I didn't need a 3-inch piece. And I'm just going to loop around. Twice. And I'm going to cut that piece off. Very close. Cut that piece. Get your pliers, push that little piece in. Now, there you have it, but I want this to be bent a little bit, so I'm going to just take my pliers here and I'm going to bend it so it kind of looks like that. Again, you are taking your hammer block. Oh, I didn't turn my light off. Just a second. Hammer block and gently tap. Turn it around. It's spread it out a little bit. I'm just going to push it in. But you know what? This makes it so much stronger. It's not going to pull out. It's really, you really have to work at it to pull it once you hammer it. Okay, so once you do that, we will now put the bracelet together and then we are going to age it. All right, now you see this bracelet. I have 1 jump ring on this end. I have a jump ring here, I have 7 in total. Okay. And I am starting with a bead link and I'm ending with a double link because that's the size of the bracelet. If yours is smaller, Maybe you'll end with a bead link. It doesn't really matter, okay? Now what you're going to do is you're just going to open all of your jump rings. And how do you open a jump ring? You take your pliers, remember you close them properly, and you're just going to push it open like that, okay? You will take whatever you want, 2 links or a bead, but I'm starting with a link here, 2 links. I'm going to pop 2 links on. Actually, I'm going to pop a link, 2 links, and 1 bead link. Okay, like that. And you'll take your pliers and you'll close that up. So it's nice and aligned. So you have this. You will take another jump ring, you will pop it on the end, like this, and you will close that one up. So you're taking all your links and you are just joining them together. So my next link is going to be, I'm going to pick up a jump ring already open. I'm going to pick up my 2 links, no beads because I have a bead here, and I will join those here. Now I have that. Continue on. I will join these 2 together, and I'm grabbing a bead link and closing that up. Another jump ring, popping it onto my bead link. I'm grabbing 2 of my wire wrap links and popping them on. Basically just putting them together. Oops. Last, grabbing link. I'm going to grab my bead link, linking these 2 links together, closing that up, and lastly we're adding our clasp and we're done. That's it. The bracelet is done. And it's a beautiful, elegant little bracelet. And so easy and fast to make, and people go, did you really make that? Yes, I did. Look at that. Now we will age it just like this. So remember, you need your steel wool, you need your patina solution. You will need also, to do this, you need 2 Tupperwares that is only allocated to aging jewelry. Once you put a patina on this, that's what it's used for. If you want to use it for something else, don't throw it out. You will need a fork. See this ugly fork that I've been using? That is allocated to my jewelry aging process. I also have a little toothbrush here. So what you're going to do is you're going to take 2 containers. You will fill one up and put in the microwave for 2 minutes until it's nice boiling water, very hot water. And in the other container, you're just filling it up with water, the same amount or whatever, and you will sprinkle some baking soda in here. The reason why is once we take it out of the patina solution, we're popping it into the baking soda water solution to neutralize the patina so it stops the aging process. So fill one up, heat it up, fill one up, doesn't need to be heated up, sprinkle a little like teaspoon of baking soda, and we'll be right back and I'll show you. Alright, so now we're ready to oxidize our bracelet. I have a very hot pot of water here, little container of water, and I have this doesn't have to be hot, it's just cool water, and I already sprinkled in some baking soda to neutralize the oxidation. Now the first step you're going to do is take your sulfur solution. You don't need a lot. You just need to put in a couple of drops. 1, 2, just that's it. And then you're going to take your fork. Actually, you should be wearing plastic gloves, by the way. I'm not, but because I'm pretty used to doing this. And I'm just going to mix it up there. I will take my bracelet and pop it in. And I'll just take my fork and swoosh it around. And you can already see that it's changing color. And I want it to be black, very close to black, so, and I probably didn't put yeah, no, it's changing. So you just leave it in there. It'll take about a minute. And you kind of check it to see where you want it to be. And swoosh it around so it gets in all the nooks and crannies. And we're almost there. Yeah, it's black. See how fast that goes? Now I'm just going to pop it into my other container to neutralize that so it stops oxidizing. I will cover this. Now, very important, do not throw this down the sink, okay? It's going to have to sit for a few days so that this renders useless, really. So useless meaning you won't be able to oxidize with it. I will just put it under my sink for 48 hours and then dispose of it outside, okay? Because I don't want it to oxidize my sink. So that's what's important. Okay, now that this is neutralized, we'll take this out. I'll put it on my little napkin here. And now we just start, here, let me move in. Notice I did my nails. Throughout the video I had very short, ugly nails, and I had it done before the last segment of this video. So if you're wondering why my nails are done, that's why. Okay, so you're going to take your steel wool and you're just going to move along your piece and start rubbing it until you get all the, well, most of the black off, so that the piece will, you want there'll be certain pieces in the jewelry that's going to stand out more than others, like this jump ring is going to brighten up a little bit. And I'm just going to move along. And you just keep doing this until you like the look of it. Now, you don't have to get all the black off because you really do want the contrast. And it gives it the antique look and character, and it's really, really nice. And again, if you're using tarnish resistant, it won't work. Ask me how I know this, because when I first started doing this, I put a piece of non-tarnish copper and it didn't oxidize, and I was wondering why. So I figured it out. So you just continue on. Until you're happy with it. Then in comes the toothbrush. I'm just going to gently go down it, and the reason why I'm using this is so that any of the fibers from the steel wool, if it gets stuck in there, it's easier to get off. I'll plop it back into the water. and dab it, and we're done, and that's it. There you have it. Elegant, dainty link bracelet. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you have any comments, please feel free to leave them below. I do check often, and if there's any, you can always go to my website. It's biedermannjewelryshop.com. I have a lot of tutorials there ready for download if you're interested. And if you like this video, give me a thumbs up. Thank you for watching. We'll see you at the next tutorial. Have a great day.